Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. Om Ajnantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study group. Thank you all for joining. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alright, let's do a quick recap. What is our greatest enemy? Lust. Absolutely correct. Lust. In the last verse of the 3rd chapter, Krishna tells us that if we want to defeat this, our greatest enemy, lust, then what do we need? We need spiritual knowledge. We need to steady our mind with spiritual knowledge, right? So that knowledge, right, which we all need to steady our mind and to fight our enemy lust, that knowledge is what is described in the 4th chapter. Okay? The 4th chapter starts with the history of the Bhagavad Gita, right? We saw Krishna saying, Ki I have spoken this same knowledge which I am giving to you, Arjun, today. I first spoke this knowledge to Vivaswan, the sun god. Vivaswan then spoke this knowledge to Manu, who is the father of mankind. Manu then spoke this knowledge to his son Ikshvaku, right? And like this, in the Guru Shishya Parampara, this knowledge has been passed on. This knowledge has been passed on to many Raj Rishis, saintly kings. And that is why most people back then were dharmic, because their kings, their rulers strictly followed dharma. But over time, this knowledge was lost. Right? And on that day, Krishna is standing on the battlefield with his dear Bhakta and Sakha, with his dear devotee and friend, one of the greatest warriors ever born. And Krishna saw that this great person was hesitating to do his duty. Right? And that is why he realized it is very important to again give this same spiritual knowledge. Right? Because he sees Arjun is hesitating. Arjun should have known everything about dharma. And yet Arjun standing on that battlefield of Kurukshetra was like, I don't want to fight. And so Krishna realizes that Aane wala, Kali Yuga is going to be full of people who are not going to know what to do. And therefore it becomes very important for Krishna to re-speak about dharma. And that is when Krishna tells Arjun why he appears in this world, what is it that he does when he comes in this world. Right? So does anyone know those two verses? First, when does he appear? Yes, please unmute.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham.
Excellent. 1 minute. First, yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata. O son of, Bharat, whenever dharma ka decline hota hai, and abhyuttanam adharmasya. Adharma is becoming very prominent. Right? Number of people who are not following dharma is increasing. Right? There's a lot of adharma in society. Tadatmanam shrujamyaham. At that point, I appear in this world. Right? So when does Krishna appear? when dharma is losing its importance, when adharma is becoming prominent. Right? And now why? After he appears, what does he do? So Subbalakshmi, please tell us the verse.
Sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Lovely. See, she's even got the Mahabharat ka tune also. So, paritranaya sadhunam. To protect all the sadhus, all the pious people. Right? And vinashaya cha dushkritam. जो गंदे कार्य कर रहे हैं उनका विनाश करने के लिए. थर्ड रीजन, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय. Again, to re-establish dharma, the principles of religion. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna appears in every yug. Okay? And then we did that. Did we do Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam? We did not, right? Okay, sorry. So, he's told us why he appears and when he appears. And now we'll go to a beautiful verse. Please repeat after me. Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tattvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Listen very carefully. Krishna is talking about his janma, his birth, and his karma, his activities. And right in the beginning he is saying, janma karma, जो मेरा है, वो दिव्यम है. Both of these are divine. And simply by understanding the divine nature of Krishna's incarnation and Krishna's activities, we can attain the spiritual world. Right? He is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam. Please understand that my janma and my karma are both spiritual. They're both transcendental. Evam yo vetti tattvataha. One who as tattva accepts this. One who does not debate on this. One who does not fight about this. One who accepts कि yes, Krishna's incarnation is divya. Krishna's activities are not ordinary material activities. Once you accept this, then tyaktva deham, when you give up this material body, punarjanma naiti, you will not get punarjanma. And mam eti so Arjuna. O Arjun, that person will come back to me. Right? So when we accept Krishna's greatness, we get free from this cycle of birth and death. Okay, please remember, when we accept that he is the controller, he is the owner, he is the super duper doer of everything, then what happens? We are free from this cycle of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So for that we need to sit back and focus on what is my relationship with Krishna. When I begin to understand my relationship with Krishna, then I begin to accept his Janma and Karma. Alright? So the first step is for me to realize that I am a tiny part of him. I am a tiny part of him. He is Bija Pradah Pita. Right? He is my eternal father. And once I understand this relationship, then I have to start thinking about how do I maintain this relationship. Right? What all can I do so that I can strengthen this relationship? I can chant, I can read the scriptures, I can offer bhog to God, right? I can have prasad, I can attend kirtan, I can attend satsang, right? When I do all of this, what happens? I'm strengthening my relationship. And when I strengthen my relationship with God, what is the final outcome? Why am I doing all of this? I get to go back to him. Correct? So I get Mam Eti so Arjuna. I get to go back to Godhead. Satyavati Mataji had very beautifully once told us a very interesting take on Krishna's birth. Right? So we've all heard कि देवकी के पहले 6 बच्चे The first 6 children of Devaki were killed. Correct? Which are the first 6 things that we need to kill? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsar. These are the 4 children that have to first die. All of us have these 6 in us. Right? So the first thing that has to happen is lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride, illusion. Right? All of this needs to first be killed. Correct? Now the 6 children died. Then what happened? Vasudev took Krishna on his head. Remember? वो बुट्टी में डाला and he took him on his head. And when he took Krishna on his head, all the chains were broken. Right? Vasudev was tied. Right? Vasudev was chained. But all those chains broke. Which means, as soon as we take Krishna on our head, the minute we accept him as the Supreme, all our chains, all our bondages will break. We will be free from everything that binds us. And when Vasudev put Krishna on his head and started walking, right? Yamuna mein to pura bahad aaya hua tha. But what happened? Yamuna split and made way for Krishna. Which means the minute we take Krishna on our head, all kinds of troubles, right, will split. Because he will show us the path through all our difficulties. Isn't that beautiful? So all we need to do is let the first 6 die, take Krishna on our head, and we will find our way through all difficulties. For that we need to accept कि Krishna ka janma and karma, birth and all his activities are divine. In fact, we should take great interest in knowing more and more about his janma and his karma. Because obviously, right, when you fall in love, you want to know more and more about the person, so you fall more in love with that person. So the more we know about Krishna, the more our love grows for him, the more our devotion grows. Right? And we need to understand that when he says his janma is divine, it means he does not take birth like we do. There's no material birth for him. Right? We take birth because of our past karmas. Krishna has no such thing. He's never obliged to take birth because of his past karmas. But he comes willingly in so many different forms because he has to accomplish certain missions. So whenever he descends on this earth, right, he is re-establishing dharma. All his forms, all his appearances, all his activities, they're all divine. And when we understand that, we get liberated. Okay? And then Krishna follows this up with a beautiful verse that gives us a lot of advice. Okay? Honestly, a verse that got me through COVID. Please repeat after me. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritah bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. Very nice. We're doing chapter 4 verse 10. Reshma, please read the translation.
Yes. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they are all attained transcendental love for me.
So in the previous verse, Krishna explained that those who know the divine nature of his janma and his karma, his birth and his activities, they go back to him. Right? In this verse he says कि many humans in the past, okay, bahavo, many people have done this jnana tapasa. They've all worked hard to get jnana about God. They became God realized by knowing about God's janma and God's karma. By knowing that, they became purified and they were able to become great bhakta. Right? So, how does one's mind get purified? Krishna says, by giving up raga, bhaya, krodha. Please highlight that first part. Vita. Vita means give up. Give up 3 things. Raga, bhaya, krodha. Now we have to understand how important this is, because in the 2nd chapter he spoke about dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate. Right? He tells us about how we get attached to things and how that leads to our downfall. In the 3rd chapter he spoke about kama esha, krodha esha. He's telling us how bad lust, greed, anger is. Again in the 4th chapter he's telling us, for God's sake, give up raga, bhaya, krodha. They're all the same. Raga is attachment. Right? Raga, anurag, right, is rag. Lot of attachment. Bhaya is fear. And krodha, anger. Krishna is saying, give up these 3 things. Then man maya. What should you do with your man? Fix it on God. Man maya. मेरे में अपना मन डालो. माम उपाश्रितः. आश्रय किसका लेना है? Take shelter of me. Mam. Right? Mam upashritah. Take my shelter. And then Krishna is saying, Bahavo. Many people in the past have done this jnana tapasa. Have worked really, really hard to get this knowledge about me. And so they became puta. Puta, completely purified. And once they became completely purified, what happened? Madbhavam agataha. They all came back to me. Right? It's such a strong verse. If we do this, Krishna is saying, we will be purified. Just by doing jnana tapasa. What we are doing just now. Getting together to cultivate knowledge. To understand more about what Krishna is saying. If we just do this jnana tapasa, we will go back to Krishna's spiritual nature. And Krishna is telling us that yes, countless jivas in the past have attained perfection by simply doing this. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Right? So what Krishna is telling us is that each and every one of us, we can do this. We can fix our mind on Krishna. Man maya. We can put our man in Krishna. We can take his ashray and we can attain perfection. But to do that, man maya mam upashritaha. What is important? Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. It is very important to give up raga, attachment, bhaya, fear, and krodha, anger. And again, like we've seen before, these are not 3 separate things. Raga is attachment. Only when we get attached to something do we get bhaya, because then the fear of losing it. Right? And if we don't get it, or if we get it and then lose it, it results in krodha, anger. Right? So again, back to the basics. All we have to do is give up raga, give up attachment. Exactly like Krishna has told us, give up lust. Right? Our eternal enemy. Once we give up raga, once we give up lust, if we are able to give up attachment, then we can easily absorb our mind in God. But the problem is, how do we give up attachment? You know? We're all experts in giving advice to others when they are attached. Right? Because we can see immediately what the problem is. We can see that that person is in pain because of his attachment, and we tell them, ki bhai, let it go. Itna attachment theek nahi hai. But when it happens to us, right? Then what happens? We're not even able to identify our own problem. Hai na? Why? Why? Because when we are born, we are not attached to anything at all. In fact, thanks to Vipul, very recently Vipul asked me to watch a movie, Soul. Okay, and I would recommend the movie to every one of you. Okay, it's on Hotstar and it's called Soul. Okay, it is simply fantastic. There is this soul in heaven. Okay, and this soul does not want to come to earth. It absolutely does not want to come here. But then accidentally, that soul falls into this world and it enters another person's body. And it's so amazing because as soul, right, he has not felt hunger, he's not felt thirst, he's not felt tired, sleepy, nothing, right? But as soon as he gets into this body, right, he says, yaar, I'm feeling weird in my stomach. So the other guy says, what you're feeling is hunger. Right? The soul finds all of this very strange. Hunger, I mean, how can I feel hunger? What the hell is hunger? But he's feeling weird. And so his friend offers him a slice of pizza. Right? The soul refuses. He does not want to eat. But then obviously he's hungry. So he takes a bite. And that's it. The cinematography is so perfect. The emotions are captured so splendidly. One bite of pizza, right? And I was in splits, okay? I was laughing because I was telling my husband, Matra Sparshas tu kaunteya. As soon as you touch this material world, right? Look at what all happens to you. You start experiencing all kinds of pleasures, right? And suddenly he can't stop eating that pizza. That is how we get attached, don't we? One little bite, it captures us. So all of you must watch this movie. It's really fun. So when a little baby is born, right, that baby knows nothing. But in a few months, just try to take off his pacifier. Just try to take off a little, toy from him. And see what a ruckus he will create. Attachment aa gaya. Then as he grows up, let's say you have these little play dates, right, for your children. They're so happy when their friends come. And when their friends are leaving, they create a ruckus again, right? They throw tantrums because they're attached to their friends. They don't want to let go. And then dhire, this once upon a time little boy, he gets attached to his football, then he gets attached to his bike, then he gets attached to his girlfriend, right? I mean, I'm thinking of my own son. Right? Then they get attached to money, they get attached to their profession, right? So think about all of this. We all get attached to love, to companionship. We get attached to our own abilities, right? Our reasoning, our intelligence, our logic. I mean, hell, we're all attached to political parties. We're attached to movie stars. Are we not? I mean, in fact, think about it. Okay? Growing up, किसने खाया था भाई Italian, French, Mexican, Thai, huh? And now, oh my God, my favorite cuisine is Burmese, right? My favorite perfume is Davidoff. My favorite shoes are Gucci. My favorite handbag is Chanel. किधर से आया ये सब? Right? My favorite is what Balgon Prabhu had once told us. This is the first time I'd heard this. He said, कि in this world, we are not permanent. We have no permanent place. And yet, all of us are so attached to our permanent place on the dining table. You have a 6-seater, 8-seater dining table, and usme bhi you have like, this is my chair. Right? This is how our attachments are. Slowly and steadily, our attachments are so strong that they become an integral part of our life. Right? And we love to show off our attachments. Oh, look at my diamond bracelet. Look at my car. Look at my fancy house. Right? Sorry, Reshma, you've raised a hand, sweetie.
Two questions.
Yeah.
A, since we are in the material world, attachment to a certain extent to all the positive factors can even give you a purpose of life. Okay? Because without attachment, you can be a nobody just doing nothing in life.
Absolutely.
So that's one. And the second is, what is the attachment that is probably what is going to take you away from the consciousness, Krishna consciousness, is what is the bad one, right? But the rest of it, how can we categorize saying attachment is bad and how do you get rid of it? Because there may be no purpose.
Fantastic question. I'm attached to my children.
Tomorrow you don't have to wake up and do something for somebody that gives you happiness as well. There might be no purpose of life. You might just waste your life.
Very nice. Very nicely asked. So no, all you have to do is You love your children. Don't love them as my children. Love them as somebody that Krishna has put in your life for you to take care of. As soon as Krishna is in the center, it becomes a fantastic attachment because then you're serving them. Then you will never turn around and say, I do so much for you, what the hell are you doing in return for me? Right? So your purpose is not lost. In fact, your purpose becomes more solid, knowing that Krishna thinks you're so capable and therefore he's entrusted so much to you. He doesn't give everybody the opportunity like he does to you. He's given you more responsibilities. He's given you more people to take care of. Right? He's given you more properties to take care of. He's given you more knowledge, more intelligence. Acknowledging that they all come from him, keeping him in the center and being attached to doing your seva. Right? See, I had read this beautiful line. It says, without Ram, don't try and get Ram Rajya. All of us want Ram Rajya. Just acknowledge Ram first. So you can live your entire house, right? Your entire life, like you want to establish Ram Rajya in it. But for that, you accept Ram at the center of it. That Ram will give you purpose in establishing and doing all what you're supposed to do to the best of your ability. In fact, maybe if you don't have that acknowledgement that this is my zimmedari, this is what I've been entrusted to do, sometimes you might just do a lazy job. Kal raat ka pada hua hai, daal lo dabbe mein le jao. But if you know ki no, this is my responsibility. I need to nourish this child so that this child flowers and blossoms to the best of her ability. Right? If you recognize that this is your responsibility, then you'll do an even better job. So those attachments have to just come through Krishna. Keep him at the center. Okay? That's all that we're doing. Any attachment that takes us away from Krishna is what we give up. But recognizing that whatever I'm doing as a responsibility towards him is the right attachment that you never give up, that you do to the best of your ability. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. So that is about attachment. And now,
regarding attachment, one thing I want to tell, every Saturday we also have specific place for sitting and listening to Bhagavad Gita class, taking class. That is also attachment.
No. I'll tell you why that is good. In fact, they tell you to sit in a particular place whenever you're doing your scriptural reading. Right? They tell you, agar mala jap rahe ho, sit in a particular place and do your mala there. That is not attachment. That is a way to constantly remind you. Every time you see that place, you will remember कि यार मुझे ना भगवद गीता खोल के पढ़ना है, मुझे ना माल करनी है. So the whole idea of sanctifying a particular place is because everywhere else we have to take care of all our material duties. Right? But we need to keep one place clean, tidy, free from all clutter, is so that every time I look at it, I'm reminded of how intensely I need to do my scriptural duties, my spiritual duties. So that is a very, very good attachment to have. Okay? Sonal, you had a question, dear?
Yes. Sorry. So continuing with Reshma's question, in the very beginning of the class, I'd asked you why did God create this universe? And you said that he created so that he wanted to enjoy what he was enjoying. And in case of...
Go on.
Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'll continue my question.
Well, no. Complete your question.
Okay. So he wanted us to enjoy what he was enjoying, or he wanted us to experience love. And the way for him to do that was to put us into this material world. Now, in case if he has put us into this material world, he wanted us to enjoy a lot of things. Then why take all those things back and want us to return to him? Why is it that he wants us to enjoy but still wants us to give up?
Okay, a slight correction in what I may have said. When we are with the Lord in the spiritual world, right, at some point in life we get this feeling, why is he supreme? Why can't I be the supreme? Okay? Therefore, he says, okay, bhai, I've created a world where you can go and be supreme. Okay? It's exactly like the father is the head of the house. Right? And the child is thinking, why the hell is dad the head of the house? So dad says, okay, go. Earn your own money, set up your own house. Right? And the child thinks, wow, I get a chance to go become, the father of the house that I am in. It's only when he goes and starts trying to be the father of that house that he realizes how hard it is to be doing that particular job. How hard it is to be looking after the kids, to be paying rent, to be buying everything that you need in the house. That 50-inch TV that dad had provided and you just thought it appeared out of nowhere. To try and go buy it is so painful. It's so much of work, and that's when you're thinking, oh my God, I wish I was just with dad. I wish I didn't have to go through all this trouble. Right? It's just that we were nicely, very happily living in God's world. It is the most beautiful place where everything is provided for. Your mind is free of all kinds of kama, krodha, right? All kinds of anxieties, and you were living a peaceful life. But you defied it and you wanted to go try it out. So God says, go try it out, because He is not Hitler. Right? But when you come here, material world itself is such that wo jute marte hi rehti hai. Anything you try to do, right? Happiness is very transient. Happiness comes and it disappears. And you're left in agony. Right? It's like you have one drink and then the morning after. Right? It's painful. The drink may have been enjoyable. The nightclub may have been enjoyable. But the morning after is extremely painful. Right? So, all of this is bound to happen, and that's when you think, oh my God, why did I do this? So, everything that we enjoy without God at the center in the material world gives us this feeling of, why the hell did I do it? Because our soul is not, our soul is Satchit Ananda. Our soul seeks spiritual bliss. This material bliss only makes us temporarily happy and then gives us a lot of pain. And when we experience that pain, because God Himself has literally said, this is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This is a place where you can only get dukh, and everything here is temporary. You want to experience love, but there is nothing like permanent love in this world. Right? It all passes. Even if you say husband, wife, very, very dear to each other, one of them will leave the other at the point of death. So it is temporary. So everything that we experience in this world is temporary and painful. And God does not want us to go through pain, and He wants us to be permanently happy. Therefore, He is saying ki bacche, ye sab ho gaya. Now what you're seeking for, you're looking in the wrong place. तुमको सुख चाहिए, लेकिन तुम उसको गलत जगह में ढूंढ रहे हो. तुमको जो सुख और शांति चाहिए ना, वो यहाँ पे है, तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे आ जाओ. लेकिन तुमको जब तक वहां पे रह के ढूंढना है, प्लीज डू इट. Okay? So that's the way I would think of it. Okay? Alright. So, do we have any other questions? Krishna Mukherjee? Yes, dear.
Yeah, you have explained it so beautifully. This was my question also. The example you gave is very good, very good. Like, I'll always remember this.
Thank you. I've only heard from my seniors. Okay, so now we've all spoken about attachment, right? Now think about this. Since I'm so attached to everything, what becomes my greater problem? Bhaya, fear. Fear that I may lose what I have. My best friend might get another bestie. My car might meet with an accident. My diamond might get stolen. I might lose my job. Modi might lose the elections. India might lose the cricket match. Crazy, right? We all are attached to so many things. And when that happens, krodha, anger. Why the hell does all of this happen to me? So Krishna is saying very, very wisely, give up 3 things. Give up raga, attachment. And once you give up attachment, automatically bhaya and krodha will disappear. Right? So give it all up. We must identify what our needs are and only try and fulfill our needs. We should not get into this vicious cycle of trying to satisfy all our wants, because greed will only keep increasing. Do we all know how they catch a monkey? Yeah, we've all read it so many times. It's also an MBA problem, right? It comes in your logic question. It's very interesting. When a monkey hunter wants to catch a monkey, it is so easy. He takes a bottle with a chota sa muh, right? A small mouth. And he puts peanuts in that jar. That monkey loves peanuts. He comes very quickly, puts his hand in the jar and holds on to all the peanuts. Putting his hand like this, I hope you can see me, putting your hand down straight is simple. You can go through a narrow passage. You go in, you hold on to the peanuts. Now it's become a fist. And now it's not coming out of the jar. Because the fist is bigger than the opening of the jar. And the monkey keeps trying. He does not want to let go of the peanuts. Right? It does not even occur to him कि यार मैं peanuts छोड़ू मेरा हाथ निकल जाएगा. नहीं. Right? He holds on to the peanuts and he keeps struggling. He spends so much time that by that time the monkey hunter comes and traps him. And that is our problem. We are not letting go of our peanuts. If we let go of our peanuts, we'll easily escape this material world. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Right? So we're all living our lives like this. We're all victims of our own attachments. In fact, I was talking to my very dear friend yesterday. I was very upset and I told her, you know what? I realize why I'm upset. I'm upset because I'm very, very attached to this person who can make me upset. If I let go of that attachment, then really that person cannot upset me, right? Your dearest ones are the ones who can give you most pain in life. Why? Because our attachments are very, very dear. Once you fix that, once you understand that no, this is me facing my own karma, right? Then you will not suffer your bhai and krodha. So I'll give you a very beautiful line which you can write down. Always keep in mind that when Krishna sanctions something, okay, when Krishna sanctions something, everything that we deserve will run towards us. It will run after us. Right? मुझे नहीं चाहिए बड़ा घर, मुझे नहीं चाहिए बड़ी गाड़ी, लेकिन because I deserve it, Krishna thinks I deserve it, so it will come in my life. With Krishna's sanction, everything that we deserve will run after us. But without Krishna's sanction, everything that we desire will run away from us. Right? Everything that we desire, if it does not have Krishna's blessings, it will run away from us. So this verse I will end with lines that I love from Kabir. चाह मिटी, चिंता मिटी, मनवा बेपरवा. जिसको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, वह शहंशाह. We've done this in school, right? In our basic Doha class in school. चाह मिटी. First thing, अगर चाह मिट जाती है, if you can just give up on desires. चाह मिटी, चिंता मिटी, मनवा बेपरवाह. As soon as you give up on desires, all your chinta, your worry, your tensions are gone and you become beparwah, free from worries. जिसको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, वह शहंशाह. Who is a true शहंशाह, a true badshah, a true raja, is a person who does not want anything. A person who's free from attachments. Right? So what should we do? Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Give up attachment, fear and anger. Then man maya. We'll be able to put our man on Krishna. Get attached to Krishna. Give up all other faltuka attachments, get attached to Krishna. Right? Mam upashritaha. Take shelter of whom? Of Krishna. Many wise people have done this in the past. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Many people have worked hard to get knowledge about Krishna, and thus they've become puta, completely purified, and because of that, madbhavam agataha. They've all gone back home to Godhead. Now, by reading that verse, okay, one might actually question, ki is Krishna partial? Does he give his grace only to those people who absorb their minds in him? If people are worldly minded, does Krishna not give them his grace? So Krishna answers that in the next verse. Okay, very commonly recited verse. The 4th chapter has a lot of verses that you should try and become familiar with. I would say try and by heart. If by hearting is taking time, become very familiar with these verses. Remember, it's transcendental knowledge, and knowledge is the foundation of your life. We are all intelligent people. See, if we weren't intelligent, it would have been so easy for us. All day we could have sat chanting. We wouldn't have had questions. We would have simply, without any questions, accepted ki bhai mala karo aur nikal jao Bhagwan ke paas. But we are not like that, right? We have a lot of questions. To get answers to those questions, this 4th chapter is absolutely brilliant. Okay? So when you have time, it takes about 7-8 minutes to read the whole chapter. Spend time going through the verses. Okay? Just read the translations. There's no problem. You don't have to read the whole purports. If you have time and the dedication, please read the purports. But otherwise, read the verse, read the translation, get familiar with the verses. Okay? We're doing verse number 11 now, please. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah.
As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha.
Look at how beautiful this is. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. जैसे तुम प्रपद्य करते हो, however you surrender unto me, tams tathaiva bhajamyaham, I reward you accordingly. Very simple. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Okay, there's a beautiful incident I'll tell you. Okay, a nice little story. We all know ki Duryodhan had invited the Pandavas for a game of dice, right? Yudhishthir kept losing. He kept staking one thing after another. He staked his kingdom, his brothers, and finally, after losing everything else, Yudhishthir put Draupadi at stake. And at that point also what happened? He lost. Right? So Duryodhan told Dushasan ki jao, go get Draupadi. And if she doesn't come just like that, pull her by her hair and bring her into the assembly. So Dushasan goes in, drags Draupadi into the assembly. But when Dushasan is pulling Draupadi, right, she's not scared. She's fearless. Because she's thinking, I'm Draupadi. I'm the wife of 5 great husbands. What can this useless chap do to me? Right? And she comes to the assembly and she looks at Bhim and she thinks, Gadadhari Bhim, he will though definitely come and break Dushasan's head. But Bhishma lowers his head. Then she looks at Arjun, Gandhivdhari Arjun. He will definitely come and smash Dushasan's teeth. What does Arjun do? Lowers his head. One by one, all those great, strong husbands of her, they all lowered their heads. Draupadi is shocked. Then what does she do? She turns to the acharyas. These are dharma ke acharya. Right? So, she looks at Bhishma Pitama. She looks at Vidur. She looks at Dronacharya, Kripacharya. And she looks towards them for help. And again she is disappointed. Now she is really angry. She says, Bhad mein jaye sare pati, bhad mein jaye sare acharya. I am one of the Panchakanyas. I am born from Agni. Right? I myself have so much of power. And so she pulls the sari on her own strength. Pulls the sari, clenches it in her mouth. And at that point, thoda she starts remembering Krishna. Right? She's fighting on her own strength. somewhere a mind mein it crosses ki yaar Krishna. And Krishna is sitting in Dwarka. He's nicely, having lunch with Rukmini. Rukmini is serving him. Krishna is having fun with her. But as soon as Draupadi thinks of Krishna, Krishna suddenly gets up and even without washing his hands, right? He runs towards the door. Rukmini is wondering, Arey, what the hell happened over here? What is it? Bhai, khana to khatam karo, fir jao. He says, no, I need to go. And he goes running to the gate. But then again he stops, turns back, comes and sits down. Rukmini says, what happened? Why did you run and then come back like this? Krishna says, yaar, bahut serious matter ho raha hai. Huge calamity has fallen on Draupadi. Rukmini says, then go na Krishna, go save her. He says, yaar Rukmini, you know my rule. Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Draupadi has to surrender to me. Right now, Draupadi is fighting on her own strength. And in the palace, what is happening? Dushasan is supposed to have had the strength of 100 elephants. Right? He's pulling at Draupadi's sari. Draupadi is holding on. But at that 1 second, that cloth jerks. And at that point, Draupadi realizes, I have no other support except Krishna. She holds her sari in between her teeth. She raises her hand and she says, Dwarka Vasin Govind. Dwarka Vasin Govind. Right? That's it. 1 moment later, Krishna appears. He appears in the form of an endless sari. Right? We all know this. Dushasan is pulling and pulling and pulling and the sari is simply extending. He's trying really hard and finally he is unable to humiliate Draupadi. He's tired, he gives up. Right? So Draupadi ki laach bach gayi. Later, Draupadi meets Krishna and she's very upset with him. She says, you knew I was in trouble. Why did you take so long? So Krishna says, what do you mean? As soon as you called, I responded. What do you mean you took so long? She says, Krishna, even after I called you, there was that one kshan which felt like eternity to me. That situation was so precarious and yet you delayed for that one kshan. Why did you get delayed? Krishna says, Tumne kya pukara? You know na Draupadi ki I am God. I am all pervading. I am in your heart. She says, yes. So he says, well, when I was sitting in your heart, why did you say, oh, Dwarka Vasin Krishna? Because of you, I had to go back all the way to Dwarka and then come back and protect you. Right? So going back to Dwarka and coming back to you is what actually created the delay. Ye yathamam prapadyante. You surrendered to that Dwarka Vasi Krishna. So that Dwarka Vasi Krishna had to come to you. Right? So we need to know that Krishna is everywhere. He's right there in our heart with us. Right? And he reciprocates with us the way we surrender unto him. Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Right? So for those who say there is no God. So the next part. Okay, I'm taking the next part of this. So the first part is Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. But Krishna says, Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. Even those people who are not accepting me, even they are also following my path only. How? Because Krishna is sitting in your heart, whether you like it or no. Right? If you surrender to him, of course, he reciprocates. But if you don't surrender to him, he's still sitting in your heart and he's noting all your actions and he's giving you the results of your actions. So for a person who does not surrender to God, God still exists. God is still doing his job, and so what you see is the law of karma. Right? He's sitting in our heart, he's noting our action and he's giving us the result. So for those who don't accept him as God, he is still the law of karma. Right? He is still there as Maya Devi. Maya Devi is taking care of everybody. She's either tying them in Sato Gun or Rajo Gun or Tamo Gun. And a person who does not believe in God is busy serving Maya. Right? He's serving Maya for wealth, luxuries, fancy relatives, lots of prestige, fame, whatever. Right? And Maya holds them tight under Kama, Krodha, Raga, Bhaya. And based on their actions, she's giving them rewards. And they continue in the 84 lakh species of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. On the other hand, those of us who are able to vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritah, if we are able to get ourselves free from worldly attachments, and if we are able to look at God as our goal, as our final shelter, then He takes care of us like a mother takes care of her child. Right? Krishna says, Bhajami aham. I reward you, I serve you. If you surrender to me, I will reward you immensely. I will personally destroy all your accumulated karmas of endless lifetimes. I will help you cut the bonds of Maya. I will remove the darkness of material existence. That is why please learn prayers with meanings. We start our prayer with Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. Where am I fallen? In Ajnan, in ignorance. Timirandhasya, extremely dark world. Right? Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. Aage? Jnananjana Shalakaya. What does the Guru come and do? Put Jnan ka anjan to our eyes, so that we are able to come out of Ajnan and that andhakar. There is ignorance and there is darkness. A Guru or scriptures, Guru Sadhu Shastra, help us to come out of that Ajnan and that andhakar. Right? They give us divine knowledge. They help us understand divine love. They help us understand what this Satchit Ananda is. And therefore this verse is extremely important for us to understand that our Shraddha is very, very important. God is super kind to us when we surrender to Him. If we don't surrender to Him, He still exists, but He exists as the law of karma. Right? I don't know if we should take the next verse, because then that is another section. So I'm going to stop right here. Because in the next verse, we are going to understand why people do Devata worship in spite of Krishna being so merciful. Okay? We'll take that next week. So for this week, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Thank you all for joining.